Welcome to the QUniverse team's report on Robinson.
Are you arresting him?
We're arrested for breach of the peace. You've all watched this. You've all watched this. You've all watched this.
This is activist and citizen journalist Tommy Robinson.
Can you get me a solicitor? Can you get me a solicitor?
Can you just turn off
Yes.
your live feed?
Can you get me a solicitor?
Just turn off your live feed, please.
Yeah.
His crime? Reporting outside of Leeds Crown Court. Heads up, there's a language warning with this video.
How are you feeling about the verdict?
Oh, suck your mum's funny.
You've got no guilt. Is there any guilt? Is there any guilt, mate? Is there any guilt?
Fucking dad, you son of a bitch.
So, as you can see there, doesn't seem like much guilt. Doesn't seem like anyone's ashamed. I'm outside Leeds Crown Court, where today 10 men are facing verdicts. They're verdicts for a alleged grooming and rape scandal involving hundreds of young girls, but there's 18 victims come forward. Some of these girls were as young as 11.
Muslim grooming gangs and rape jihad gangs have been in operation for the last 30 years in England. Tommy Robinson has been outspoken on the issue for years. In 2017, he was arrested and as a result has a suspended sentence of 3 months from Canterbury Crown Court. On Friday, May 25, 2018, outside Leeds Crown Court, he was arrested for breaching the peace. What happened next was Orwellian. Within the span of 5 hours, Robinson was whisked off the streets, his cell phone was confiscated, he was charged with contempt of court, tried, and convicted. The Leeds court judge reinstated the suspended 3-month sentence and added an additional 10 months. In addition to this, the court also issued a reporting restriction on Tommy Robinson's case, leading to a media blackout. Any UK-based publication or citizen was banned from speaking about the proceedings in Robinson's trial. He was then sent to Hull Prison and will remain there while he serves his sentence. The fear among supporters is that the prison Tommy is in also houses individuals who would take pleasure in seeing him injured or killed.
It was made very, very clear to the judge there that going to prison would be a very, very real threat to Tommy's life. I was talking to you about this before, how there's a very literal bounty that's been on his head when he's been in prison.
On Tuesday, May 29th, the reporting ban was lifted after an application by British publication Leeds Live. Since Robinson's incarceration, there's been considerable public outcry. An online petition is circulating calling for Tommy Robinson's release. Hundreds have flocked to number 10 Downing Street, the English Prime Minister's residence, to protest. World leaders have also spoken out about Robinson's treatment and are calling for his release. Among them are UKIP leader Gerard Batten, German Bundestag member Peter Bijstrom, and Dutch Party for Freedom leader Geert Wilders.
I'm here on behalf of millions in the Netherlands, in Europe, and also in Britain. And in their name, I say we will no longer be silent. Our future is at stake and we will protect it. Free Tommy Robinson. Release him from jail today. Restore freedom of speech and stop gagging the people.
Who is Tommy Robinson? His real name is Stephen Yaxley Lennon, and he's an activist from Luton, England. He also led the English Defence League from 2009 to 2013. The EDL is a street protest movement which opposes the spread of Islam and Sharia in the UK. EDL's main belief is that Islam challenges an English Christian way of life. While with the EDL, Tommy was arrested 4 times in connection with protests. In 2013, Robinson left the EDL fearing they were headed towards far-right extremism. Robinson continued to speak out and be critical of the European migrant crisis. He joined and led the UK branch of Pegida, an anti-Islam organization. Pegida stands for Patriotic Europeans Against the Islamization of the West. On February 6, 2016, Robinson and his group participated in a silent march in Birmingham.
They may look at a Pakistan flag flying in the background of our speech and ask why there's a flag of Pakistan at a demonstration in England. The reason is because Bikini UK, we want to represent everyone. We want to represent everyone that resides in the UK that stands against hate. Everyone, regardless of race, regardless of colour, regardless of what country your heritage is from.
It's interesting to note that just 3 months earlier, in November 2015, the Paris terror attack at the Bataclan Theatre occurred, killing 130 people and injuring 413 folks. In 2016, when in France to watch the UEFA European Championship, Robinson demonstrated with a t-shirt and flag mocking the Islamic State. Upon returning to the UK, he was given a football banning order. So a football banning order is a civil order that is imposed by a court. It's given to those who have caused or contributed to violence in the UK or abroad at football matches. Football banning orders were introduced by the Football Spectators Act in 1989 in order to crack down on fights and hooliganism. Someone who is given one of these orders could be required to surrender their passport, report to a specific police station, and be barred from using public transport on game days. So after Tommy Robinson's protest in France at the UEFA Euro, Bedfordshire police applied for a football banning order, citing his wearing an anti-ISIS t-shirt and waving an anti-ISIS flag. In essence, Robinson was being punished for opposing a terrorist organization. Eventually, Robinson won his case. Interesting to note, while in court, Robinson's lawyer questioned whether Tommy was being unfairly targeted by police or the Home Office. In 2017, Robinson became a correspondent for the Rebel Media. They're a Canadian right-of-center political and social commentary website. It was during this time, while covering a child rape case outside Canterbury Crown Court, that Robinson was arrested and convicted of contempt of court, but received a suspended sentence.
Why was Tommy Robinson potentially risking his suspended sentence out front of Leeds Crown Court on Friday, May 25? To cover a grooming gang trial. This trial had been going on for 2 years and had been conducted in 3 parts due to the large number of defendants. The proceedings had to accommodate 29 people on trial and each of their lawyers. The first part had already concluded and verdicts delivered. The trial that Robinson was outside of is the second part, and the verdict was to be delivered that day. It was decision day. The third part of these trials is to start in September 2018. Muslim grooming gangs and rape jihad gangs, which have been operating in Britain for the past 3 decades, have largely gone unreported until recently. It has been alleged that the UK authorities have been covering up the abuse out of fear of being labelled racist. Another point is that Britain is still a class-based society, and the girls who have gone missing are from lower-class families. It makes one wonder if that was a factor in the lack of policing of this issue. The grooming gang epidemic has been documented in various publications and spans the entire country, from Newcastle to Bradford, Rochdale to Rotherham, Telford to Birmingham, Luton to Ramsgate. This has grown a large-scale issue. What Tommy Robinson was doing was shedding sunlight on a problem which has been hidden in darkness for far too long: the sexual abuse of children, regardless of the personal cost to himself and his family.
I have to be super careful, you see, because when I was coming to these court cases, part of what the police did was they dawn raided me and they put me on a contempt of court charge, which would mean that I could face prison, or I'm on a suspended sentence, because they don't want people reporting. They don't want the public watching these videos. They don't want you to see. You see the men walking in court there today. That man, who knows, he might get not guilty, but that man is alleged to have gang raped or been involved in rape and prostitution, etc., yeah, of young children. He didn't seem bothered, did he?
So why does this matter? A couple of reasons. The authorities appear to have violated Tommy Robinson's right to due process. First of which is in regards to the suspended contempt of court charge from the Canterbury Crown Court, and not to mention a trial in which sentencing Robinson was across the country in Leeds.
And what should have happened in that case was ordinarily you would be taken back to the court that sentenced you. in the first place, and they would say, okay, you've got 6 months of your suspended sentence left, but it was a 3-month suspended sentence, you've breached this, whatever, here you go, here's your sentence, it's no longer suspended, you're going to prison for 3 months. So this is very, very different. It's, from what I gather, it's sort of incorporated into it, but it's not as cut and dry as he, violated his suspended sentence, he breached it, he's gone to prison.
According to the BBC, the key points of the 1981 Contempt of Court Act include publishing material which can prejudice active criminal proceedings, bringing a recording device into court, and breaching the confidentiality of the jury's deliberations. Something to bear in mind here, Robinson was on public property at the time of his live stream, sharing information already published in the public domain, and it was decision day for the accused. The swiftness of action potentially suggests that Robinson's arrest and conviction was politically motivated and an intimidation tactic.
He told us about every single time systematically that the police arrested him, raided his house with his wife and children, tried to scare him, intimidate him, tried to throw him under the bus and tried to silence him.
And, oh by the way, this also comes at the doorstep of the notorious Anjem Choudhury, being released only halfway through his 5.5-year sentence from September 2016. Link provided. Second, why is there currently a restriction on reporting on England's pedophile network? For quite some time there has been a cover-up in reporting on pedophilia in high places. An article from Time, dating back to 2014, addresses the cover-up issue, noting many in power serve their own interests and conceal wrongdoings. Notably, at the time of the article, Theresa May was then Home Secretary and announced an inquiry into the situation. We have to ask, why did she fail to expose the horrific abuse? Furthermore, MI5 knew of the pedophilia cover-up. In a 2017 article from The Telegraph, an MI5 briefing note, dated April 24, 1979, shows that the Director of Public Prosecution lied and hid allegations of abuse by a former Member of Parliament, Cyril Smith. Smith was an MP for Rochdale from 1972 to 1992, and during that time there had been 144 sexual abuse complaints against Smith. Rochdale is also the same city which Tommy Robinson had previously reported on Muslim grooming gangs. Third, the timing relative to the compliance date of the EU's General Data Protection Regulation Act, GDPR for short, is suspicious. Granted, it's been 2 years since the passage of the so-called Act. Tommy's ordeal comes on the back of sites including the Chicago Tribune, the New York Daily News, and the LA Times that became inaccessible for millions of European users post-May 25th deadline. If you want to read further into the GDPR and how it came about, key policies, how it affects individuals, punishments for breaking GDPR, etc., read the Zero Hedge article, Everything You Need to Know About GDPR, that includes a couple videos and infographic via ValueWalk, link provided. And lastly, the final matter at hand is the suppression of freedom of speech, silencing Tommy Robinson and the gagging the media, which concerns us here at QUniverse. If the authorities in England can do this to Tommy Robinson, they could do this to anyone. The ramifications of reporting a story in a climate like this are that it could land any one of us in jail for sharing factual and legitimate information. Within hours, any of us who don't have the preferred way of thinking could be, quote-unquote, disappeared. This is a huge violation of rights and gross censorship of dissenting voices.
A few days ago I responded to a tweet about grooming gangs. I tweeted that 90% of convictions in the UK are Muslim men. This is a fact. It's a fact even found by a Muslim organisation who done research into it. This is a tweet that got me banned from Twitter for 7 days. It's also true, even Majid Nawaz come out in my defence. We disagree on many things, but he come out saying how outrageous this was. Twitter started by removing my verification. Now they've limited my account. This is the build-up. They want to remove me, to silence me, to discredit me. They have tried to stop me in every possible way, from taking my finances to imprison me, to slander me, to linking me to Darren Osborne and extremism. Now they want to take away the final thing I have, my voice. I don't doubt one day they will wipe me off social media completely, forever. They will take away my right to defend myself when I'm slandered in the press. The media will be able to tell you whatever they want about me, and I'll have no way of responding. One of the reasons I left Rebel Media is because I want to be out on the street. I want to be out there exposing the truth about what's going on in our country and also across Europe. I have major plans to start something big, a whole new platform to get the truth out to you, to the British public, people who deserve to know what's going on in our country. But they're going to try and stop this at every level. They already are. In 2016, the tide was on our side. We had all the power to challenge the mainstream media, to expose their lies and finally get the truth out to the people, the real truth. But they realised that. and now they're taking back the power. The entire establishment they're fighting back. They're working with social media to silence us. They can kick me off Twitter. They can delete my Facebook. They can remove my YouTube. But I won't let them stop me telling the truth.